Hello, and welcome to this installment of the Attached Playlist. Today, we're going to be discussing Season 2 of Love is Blind. So, I've heard the adage, love is blind, and I've heard it used two ways. One, love isn't something that is seen, it's felt. And I'm not necessarily going to be driven by what I see if I love the person. Basically, I can overcome any exterior aesthetic that my partner might have if I really, really love them. I agree with that. There's another way that love is blind. That I can be with a partner and be blind to the fact that they are not good for me. They have some toxic qualities. I could be blind to the abuse. I could be blind to whatever flaw that would make this person not right for me. And both are true. And I think Season 2 really brings that home. I am on Team Shake in the sense that I do agree. I'll backtrack just a little bit. I believe that love is the ultimate power in the universe. And with that in mind, love is possible between any two people. And there are some healthier ways to go about it and less healthy ways. I may have said this already on my channel, but that's fine. Reinforcement. I used to be a high school teacher. It's important. Because love is the ultimate power in the universe, and it is possible between any two people. This experiment is one way to go about it. But I believe there are obstacles to achieving, to actualizing that love, to experiencing the depth of love that exists in the universe between any given two people. I've had a couple of male friends say they love me. I could not love them in the way they wanted back because I am not homosexual. I am heterosexual. So there was an obstacle there. Love is achievable. I did love them, but the depth and so if you love as an eternal, infinite force, the depth of love one can experience is getting closer to the eternal, is getting closer to the depth of what God is, and God being infinite, getting close to the infinite. I could not experience that with this other person. So when I'm watching this show, I see Shake, for instance, and I saw that he did love her. He had that emotional connection, and from that moment when he grabbed her from the first time, it's what petered out for him. It dissipated. Not because he didn't love her, but because there was now an obstacle to his attaining that love. Fits like a puzzle piece. I paid attention to the language they used because they didn't know they hadn't met their partner yet. Fits like a puzzle piece. How confident and strong she was. I agree with them that we all have preferences. I have tussled with some of my attractions to people and my lack of attraction to some people. Wow, this person checks every box on my list. Why don't I like them? And there's a very, very strong thing to be said about preferences. and those are obstacles. It is attainable, but in order for someone to do the gymnastics, in order to love a person they're not interested in, it's not shallow or narcissistic. It is perhaps trained and maybe untrainable. But the effort that would go in, and I remember at least once when I was broken up with, the day after it happened, I was so relieved. I had one of the biggest poops of my life. I was going through such gymnastics to meet her emotional needs. I wasn't addressing my own needs. And quite a real way. Anyway, so I'm on Team Shake. I agree, love is fuzzy. I agree that visual, aesthetic, even pheromonal. I think a lot of what Mallory and Salvador had going on was maybe pheromonal. They've done studies where after, you go on dates, you're wearing your best deodorant, your best cologne, whatever, perfume, and after you're home and you're with this person and you're in their space, they've done tests and studies where it seems like the only factor that has changed is people can smell each other. And they've done studies that people are attracted to people who smell somewhat similar, but not so similar, which is really interesting, where they've had people go to the gym, work out, and then they've had women sniff these shirts, and the ones they were most attracted to were slightly closely related to their father, but not as close related to them. I don't know, it's really interesting, some of these studies. But I think a lot of some of these reactions, oh, I love you, I want to be with you, I've met you, oh my God, why don't I want you? I think a lot of it is not just visual, although that's part. I think a lot of it's pheromonal. There's 5 senses, and all 5 are important when figuring out attraction. Shane and Natalie. Okay, so Shane has a lot of energy. I really like this man. When Natalie would speak the way she would, sarcasm, her inability to be sincere with the way she communicated, he didn't like it. And then he would reach a point where he would burst. And he would seethe over this. And their communication style was not. Shane is one that gets so frustrated and so emotional, his mouth ceases to work. We could see this in the finale, we could see this at various points in their arguments. And then sometimes he bursts. Whenever he would dish it back out to Natalie, Natalie would take it offensively. But Natalie, that's how she communicates. The whole "don't feed me" BS. My shame cutting through the silence. That was a song that played during one of their scenes in one of their arguments. And then that moment at the altar when he said, "I want to spend the rest of my life with you," she walked away. He chased after her. He said, "I meant every word I said. You meant that you hate me?" She was so stuck. She was stuck in that moment. She couldn't move past it. Their story was very unfortunate. But they were a mismatch in communication. That's for sure. Jarrett and Iana, I love this couple. It's really a shame that they're divorcing now or divorced now. I don't know which. But I love this couple. And I always wondered, how does one navigate the whole, I want this person to feel valuable. I want them to feel like they're my first choice, even though there was this other thing that happened. I've had a lot of crushes in my life. A lot of them were unrequited. Sure, okay. And then, but every relationship I come with, no, you're what I want right now. I'm clean, I'm free. This is it. I am here. I'm present. But I've often wondered, okay, well, how do I talk about all these people I've had crushes on and not make this person feel less special? But all the crushes that I've had led me to understand what I want in a relationship. And I like that I have an openness to me that I can find something attractive about most of the people I interact with. So I think they did a good job. They navigated it. I would really love to know. I know that there was some video game playing. She felt ignored. He wanted to go out. She wanted to stay in. I wonder if ultimately that's what broke them up. But I don't want to beat the dead stick. I just kind of wanted to talk about this show because I'm leading to season 4. I want to get in on that. So, an overview. So far, we have Shane, who seems to be fearful avoidant slash fearful avoidant slash maybe dismissive avoidant. Natalie, who is very dismissive. She immediately shut down at the altar. She was able to do that. I think a lot of the times when the people in the show are saying things like, oh, I just want someone to accept me for me, I don't want to be criticized. And that's something that dismissive avoidance and fearful avoidance take very seriously, very, very much to heart. Jarrett seemed to be quite secure. Ayana, fearful avoidant slash dismissive, not dismissive, sorry, anxious, preoccupied. She was all in once she was in. Salvador, he seemed deactivated. Same with Mallory. They were both deactivated at the end. Which is why they were so cool emotionally at the end, too. So if they're deactivating, it's either fearful or dismissive, right? Nick and Danielle, they're the next subject. Nick seemed secure. Very secure. Danielle was very insecure, so I want to say fearful or anxious. But Nick and Danielle, the way he casually flirted with Jarrett and other things kind of leaves me wondering as to why they're divorcing now. Danielle was very intense. I couldn't handle her insecurity. I joke with my wife, I say, don't take your attachment style out on me. Your attachment style is not my responsibility. There's some people whose holes are so big, no matter how much love and affection you throw into it, it's not going to fill up. They were very quick. The way they attached to each other was very fast. They were the first to get engaged on the show. And for some people, that's a red flag, because narcissists are so eager to attach. I'm not calling anyone a narcissist in this case. But narcissists are so easy or quick to attach because they want that supply, really. They want to establish that really quickly. But then so are anxious preoccupied. They're very, attached. So a lot of people see it as a red flag, but there's a lot of reasons for it. It's not just one. Kyle is very secure, and I'm really glad. I admire that about him. Shayna was very dismissive. She really focused on the religion thing, the perceived flaw, perceived flaw, very strong. Ooh, can't have it. When I first watched this show, I hated her guts. I absolutely hated her. And a little squint. Anytime she didn't like what was being said, or didn't understand, or was very critical, or that squint. But the second time I watched it, she did well. I get the whole not wanting to spare someone's feelings and being dismissive. She doesn't necessarily know how to go about doing that in the most sensitive way. I was. She didn't ever put the ring on. They didn't go to Mexico. She could have really cashed in on this experience, and she didn't. She told him point blank, "Hey, I don't know if I'm really interested. We have a lot of ground to cover. We had some things to figure out." The second time I watched the show, I really appreciated her, but I did not like her the first time. I would say very dismissive. Kyle, brother, I don't know if anyone has ever said this to you, or if anyone has been willing to talk to you about this, but you have some big ears. And I'm not trying to be shallow, but I acknowledge that shallow exists. Love is fuzzy, and dismissive avoidance, if that is what you're into, if that's what you're drawn to because of your trauma, which is quite possible that you're not secure, that maybe you're just anxious, preoccupied. You're drawn to people who are going to perceive your flaws and deactivate, and that deactivation will trigger you to do those activating strategies, those romantic gestures. You have some big ears, and it's possible that some of the reactions you've had to some of the people you've pursued or have been close to may have been a reaction to that. I think you're very handsome, you're very fit. I really dig you, I like the way you speak. Your head's in the right place. But I don't know how many people are going to be honest with you about that, and I am. Just remember that, as much as it might be hard to hear. No pun intended. Jeez, that's really... No, I meant no, it wasn't intended. Shake and deep tea. Okay, I could tell from the moment they met that it was over. Love is fuzzy. We already talked about that. This season was a good season. I really liked it. I really am sad that Jarrett and Hannah didn't make it. Only 2 relationships made it through the finish line, across the aisle, whatever. I really enjoyed hearing that Kyle and Deep D went on a couple dates. Kind of wish that had continued. I don't know. I wish all of them the best in their search for love, etc. I'm looking forward to season 3 and discussing it with you guys. But is love blind? Put in the comments. Is it blind to flaws? Or is it really not truly blind? The way I put it with my wife, I said to her, what's that Cinderella song from the musical? Do I love you because you're beautiful? Or are you beautiful because I love you? I've always explained it to my wife that she is foxy as heck, and I don't love her because of her looks, but it made it easier to fall in love with her. But now that I love her, she's even more beautiful than when we met. Even though she hasn't improved her looks. She doesn't look any different. It's just that much more intense, the attraction. So love has the capacity to be blind. It is possible to overcome any physical appearance impairment that one might feel. Fake it till you make it. But is it worth the stress of faking it until you make it? I don't know. I'm just grateful I don't have to fake it. And I really enjoy making it. Thank you for watching. Best of luck to all those participants in season 2. Sorry it didn't work out for any of you. And I look forward to watching season 3 with you guys.